I got messages from the stars. Skirk is calling me. What she calling me for? But anyway, today there has been some news about another new quote unquote gacha game that's coming out essentially in the next few months of October. And what that game is essentially Duet Night Abyss, which is very much pretty much shaking up people like crazy right now for multiple reasons. And honestly, it's literally just nothing all that you see on YouTube is just straight up, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening, or just straight up glaze, or a lot of different stuff. And that's just basically what's been happening, and it's just been a hellaciously crazy time. So the whole point is, when it comes down to what people are tripping about, is that this gacha game is not basically a gacha game. There is no like real gacha elements to it. This is essentially giving you free characters, free weapons, basically, kind of letting you grind out as much as you want without any sort of worry about stamina for the most part. And it's just basically a free to play game, which is kind of crazy to hear, especially with how gacha games have been trying to outdo each other. But they've been trying to, honestly, one thing I will say, they've been surprising me with how much they've been trying to outdo each other so quickly. First it was like, Wuwo coming through with the better combat and stuff like that. Then there was things like, Neverness to Everness to be like, alright, 50-50 doesn't exist. And then now this game saying we'll go one step further and just eliminate gacha altogether and just literally play the game and you get characters. And that's just how it is. And that's a pretty crazy, step up when it comes down to people coming through into playing these sort of games. It is a wild element to kind of chuck into these sort of things, because obviously gacha games are there for a reason. When it comes down to it, like, it's literally in the name of gacha being a gacha game, right? It's obviously that chance of, we gotta capture you in, we're gonna make you go ahead and try to wish for a character or go for a character and try again and all that sort of stuff. Basically it's gambling, but it's also not gambling when it comes down to it too, right? Plus you do have, I guess, other options available, but still, nonetheless, that's the whole point of what a gacha game is supposed to do. It's supposed to reel you in, play for the long term, get and pull characters and stuff like that, maybe fork over some real money, and that's just how it is. But not this game. This game basically says, yeah, we're gonna just say all that, you thinking we're gonna make you think we're gonna do all that sort of stuff. Nah, not really, and we're gonna just say F all that and just go ahead and do what we're gonna do. And essentially just say, yeah, we're going to just give you everything that you want as long as you play the game. The only thing you're paying for is cosmetics and accessories and stuff like that. And that's basically about it. And for the most part, it sounds like a good time. It sounds pretty dang good. And if this is literally how the devs are feeling towards the game, and this is what the game is, this Warframey sort of stylish anime sort of game, then, that's pretty dang good. That's sounding like a pretty massive W. However, I do have concerns about it though, right? I do have my concerns, and I will very much list those. But before I do so, I do want to go ahead and throw this out there that YouTube is also doing some wild and nonsense when it comes down to the comments, essentially. And basically they're adding something called hype now. So if you like this video or want to see this video get hyped up in some shape and form to actually let this channel get visibility, actually let people see what's going on here, then please hype up this video or the previous video that you have at your disposal that you can obviously go to the comments and check out, because again, any help with this channel getting it noticed, it would be nice, honestly. So if you can't do that, please do. There's like a few elements of discussion that we honestly need to yap about when it comes down to it, that honestly no one has really, as far as I'm aware of, mentioned just yet. And that is, obviously, we're throwing out a new game like this. Obviously you gotta have people care for the characters, you gotta have people care for the story, but the biggest thing that you need to do as a video game, especially a free-to-play one, is player retention. Giving out everything for free is good. Giving out everything that you want to give and let people play the game how they want to play it is excellent. That's nothing bad there. But ultimately, what's to say that's a huge reason for people to continue playing the game once they play it? What's to say that's not gonna hurt you in the long run? Again, gacha does what it does for gacha's sake, because they know how to rope in people to wanting to go play the games. You're gonna have people that feel like, with everybody being free and you can go get the character whenever the hell you want to. It's basically, and I hate to term it like this, but I'm going to. It's basically feeling like communist gacha, where basically everyone gets everything and it's a shared space. No one feels important over the other, and that's just how it is. And for some people, and even for me selfishly a little bit, I sort of kind of don't like that to an extent, right? I think it's great that everything is free. I think everything can be amazing when it comes down to it, though. But it's also a little selfish reason, at least that people kind of do play gacha, and that's to feel more important than the average person, right? Just to say they, got lucky on their pull and say, hey, I got my week and your ass didn't, ha ha ha, and that's some shit right there. Which, granted, is it messed up? Kinda, but let's just be real. People are vain ass people. People like to have things that other people don't necessarily have, and then if you get the same thing that I get, then it's like, cool. For sure, you grinded that out, you earned that shit, let's go. But if everybody gets the same thing, it's not going to be that level of like, oh, well, that's just, being there, People's not going to basically be out in a rush trying to get certain things when it comes down to it, and that's just ultimately how it is. By erasing, honestly, that element of it, it kind of loses its meaning to just kind of really go get any character, which kind of could also push people to be just like, yeah, I don't really see a reason to play it. I mean, I can go get the character later and all that sort of stuff, and that's just ultimately how it is, right? So it's not necessarily like, I would say, I'm not gonna say it's like a bad thing, but I'm not gonna sit here and say like, oh, there's no problems with it whatsoever. Because again, for a gacha game, this stuff is important. Retention, the story, and characters, when it comes down to it, it's easily some of the most important things of the game, because what's making you come back to play, right? Genshin's case is definitely the story, and definitely if the character, personality of them is good, and very much I can get more involved into it when it comes down to it, and that's just how I feel for something like a Genshin, honestly. ZZZ, very much love the characters, and might not really care too much for a lot of the story as of right now, because it doesn't feel like much of anything to a high extent. But when it comes down to it, though, the characters is probably some of the best I've seen just be done, and how they're being done in any game that I've really seen so far in recent memory. So that's really nice. And then, that's just again, very much different levels of how you are just retain that attention to kind of keep coming back, wanting to come back. And again, if everybody on the same level, is that really going to be the case of everybody wanting to come through and play? I don't really know, right? This is an issue that live service games oftentimes have an issue with, and is again holding that player attention. Because obviously, if I had a way of just straight up fondling Bernice's tits or something like that, then everybody else wasn't gonna grab on, but I put a limit on that, then other people would be pissed and want to try, and then maybe that give people an idea of wanting to go get it and try to do it themselves. Which, if I just said free use Bernice, everybody claps, everybody's gonna clap. But then at the very same time, it's gonna be like, over the years, so Bernice, she ain't as good as she used to be. She was tight and right, but now she's just loose and crappy. You get the dang point, though. Essentially, how much of freedom is good freedom? How much of that can you actually allow with a game, or really games like this? Because honestly, essentially what this whole game is just free to play the game. That is essentially what this is. And again, it's not necessarily a bad thing to do this, but let's be real, because humans are like this, and we are just like this as a society. There must be problems. There has to be some sort of problem to continue people to wanting to play a game, to continue wanting them to get any interest in games like this. Because if you literally give, let's just say, if Genshin were to fix every little problem that every part of the game has had that people complain about for a long time, literally, if that game was perfect and it was good, people will still dip off, because it's just like, the game is good, there's nothing wrong with it, and that's kind of the issue, right? Sometimes you do need issues that needs to come up with the game. Don't really know what that could be, but you do need that, because obviously if you don't have that, yes, you have a very good game, but then for a lot of people, they might say like, yeah, there's no issues going on, so it's kind of boring. Like, I know for somebody that might sound absolutely ridiculous of what I'm saying, and I know for sure I'm looking like I'm hitting the Triple H pose right now, right? But when it comes down to it, though, it is true. Like, if you literally give people everything that they ever wanted, what's the meaning to it? What's the purpose for it, right? I think these devs have very much a good intention of what they want to do. And if the story is, good and the characters are amazing and, it gets people to want to play and just continue to go on and play the game, that's great. That's fantastic and more power to them. But ultimately, though, you can't just have a perfect game and then just think, oh, everything's going to go good. We're going to make all kinds of things work for us, because ultimately, that's not gonna be a good way to solve the problem of that. That's not, a good way to go about it. At least in my mind, of what I think would actually be the case, right? And as far as cosmetics go, I do genuinely believe that gacha games do need more cosmetics. And if clipping like into environments or into the body of the characters is literally like the problem of why they don't necessarily do things like that, then to be absolutely honest, we just need to get more skins. We really do. No matter the gacha game, we just need more skins. I would rather take a little bit of clipping into the body or in the environment than actually just not having like a skin whatsoever, because that's easily one of the entrance problems, and one of the things that they could very much add is add skins and stuff like that. However, one bad problem with having a lot of skins is definitely feels like that means the game feels lazy. It feels like that, that's all they really care to do is just do that, and is that enough to really, again, keep people from wanting to continue playing the game? That's a whole nother thing too. Need I remind people, or at least if you aren't aware, about what Dead or Alive did? The whole fighting game that has like a shit ton of skins and a shit ton of catalogs that are just a lot of nonsensical ass DLC that just very much was done very weirdly, and especially in DOA 6 where it's very poorly done and how you got to go about that sort of stuff. Yeah, not gonna lie, having skins is good, but overdoing it is also a shit time, right? Like, I do feel like a lot of people do not mention the fact that, oh yeah, a lot of skins can be kind of bad. It can lead to a lot of nonsense when it comes down to it. No one really ever points it out in this space, and that's because we never really had a shit ton of skins before. So, obviously that's like another big red flag you gotta be wary of when it comes down to it, right? Again, I'm not trying to sit here and rag on the game and be like, oh, this game is absolutely terrible, it's gonna be shit, it's gonna play like ass, because who knows, it might play really good. My only complaint about it, honestly, if I were to complain about it personally, is just the fact that it's not on console. At least I don't think it's gonna drop on console just yet, and it's just gonna be for PC and phone users, and that sucks because bitch, I play console. But that's literally about it. So, it's not really something I because honestly, if I had the chance to play it and it was on console, for sure I would probably, delete Water and Waves and then try to see what this game plays like and see what it feels like for me. But when it comes down to it though, I can't necessarily do that because obviously it's not on effing console. But regardless though, I hope this game is a success. I hope this game does well. I hope it is actually something that people can genuinely sit there and care about. But honestly, there is definitely those red flags when it comes to the free element. Not because the game is bad or anything like that, but because how much of that is going to really keep people wanting to play the game, how much of that is going to retain the attention of the player as they go throughout the game, how difficult is the game going to be, how easy is it going to be, and all this sort of stuff. A lot of technical stuff that you have to really think about when it comes down to it. So again, I don't think that it's a bad idea for a gacha game to give out free stuff and free characters and stuff like that. Honestly, I don't think it's gonna hurt that company's pockets if, each company's pockets, if they decide to give out a free character here and here. But every now and again, that's fine to do, but doing it all the time and trying to, retain people's attention, especially doing that off rip and stuff like that, I don't know how far that's gonna go. I really don't, so we'll see, but definitely it's more so of a we'll see sort of situation. I hope it goes well, but we definitely will see. But yeah, I guess that's really all I want to say for this one when it comes down to it. Just really want to get my thoughts out there because, again, I saw this like last night, and I was just like, what the hell's going on here? And I just wanted to talk about it. As I found out more, I'm like, oh, this is good, but I don't know how far this can actually go in terms of like people wanting to continue playing it for years on end or something like that. Who knows? But yeah, that's really all I got to say for this one. So hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification on your way out. Also follow me on socials, and if you'd like to donate to the channel, Kofi and Cash App is available as well. And until this, Boy J, sign off. Have a blessed day.